A force for change leading to newly trained police officers, and they're taking an element from one of the country's most violent sports, mixed martial arts or MMA fighting.
CBS 13's Adrian Moore with the local police department turning to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as a new training tool, Adrian.
Yeah, Tony and Elizabeth, the philosophy is pretty straightforward here. You don't want to fight a suspect, you want to fight their will to fight. And for the Manteca Police Department, it's an approach that's not only helping more officers get home safely, but keeping use of force complaints down.
Our main goal is to keep our energy up while he depletes his energy. Yeah. Hey, can I have your ID?
Sure.
The moves look sophisticated, but the strategy behind them is simple.
In Jiu-Jitsu, if there's distance, strikes can hurt you. The closer you are, the strikes don't hurt as much. They don't have as much force.
A system of holds and locks are paving a new path in policing, cultivating more confident, more self-controlled cops.
FBI's came out recent statistics to show up near the 90 percentile range that a confrontation will end up on the ground, that a smaller, weaker opponent on the ground with the right tactics and the right control can take a suspect in custody who may be stronger, bigger, and those are factors we take that into account with our officers.
Nearly all officers in the Manteca Police Department are trained in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, a common technique used in mixed martial arts or MMA fighting.
Most people, when they hear, hey, Manteca PD is going to be taking a cue from MMA fighting, implementing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu into their training, people immediately will equate that with violence. What are your officers learning here?
Well, the natural presumption is that it's going to be a violent encounter if our officers are trained in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. However, that's the least thing that would happen with it.
One of the loudest proponents of this type of training for law enforcement is Gracie, a third-generation teacher of Jiu-Jitsu.
And that's when the collaboration begins.
Henner helped launch Gracie University and is the co-creator of Gracie Survival Tactics, the only curriculum in California to be certified by the Commission on Peace Officer Standards and Training.
All the techniques have been adapted specifically for the law enforcement considerations that need to be brought into the equation. Weapon retention, handcuffing, multiple attackers potentially, confined spaces.
Get your hands up, bro.
In an age of viral police videos, transparency and accountability have never been more important. Manteca police see about 6 to 7 use of force complaints a quarter, but the chief says those numbers are on a downward trend, due in large part to Jiu-Jitsu training.
Well, with the officers that have had the training, we've seen the incidents where they actually had to use force. They were able to get control in a relatively short time frame, as opposed to resorting to other tactics, strikes, to get compliance.
And when police officers get better training, like we have in Manteca and so many other agencies around the world, their training use of force intensity will come down, and then we'll get closer to a point where the expectation from the public and the capabilities of law enforcement officers will be closer to matching.
In California, police are only required to take 4 hours of hands-on defensive tactics training every 2 years. It's a standard Henner argues highlights the need for change.
So naturally, officers are going to revert to the tools that are on their tool belt, the physical tools, whether it be pepper spray, taser, baton, firearm, and they're going to resort to those very quickly because there are no empty hand skills being taught.
A shift in methods and mindset, showing law enforcement's newest weapon doesn't have to be any weapon at all. A number of other local law enforcement agencies are embracing this type of training as well, including the Stanislaus County Sheriff's Department. Dozens of its deputies with that agency will be taking part in a week-long training course coming up in March.
Fascinating. I was about to say, don't be surprised if more departments use this.
Yeah, they certainly
Adrian,
are.
interesting report. Thank you.